So Trudeau comes out and says something right, and no one fucking cares. I already said it myself, that the blame of these residential school mass graveyards isn't the fault of Canada or Canadians. I am at no fault for that. And yet, that's what the media starts coming out with at first. And then he stands up and says, the Catholic Church needs to take responsibility. And in fact, he's pressured them before in the past, apparently, about coming out with an apology and maybe even some remuneration for the damages that have been done, and they've always refused. I would call them the Holy Roman Catholic Empire, because it's the original name of that universal church, and it follows the battle plan that essentially is Roman in nature anyway, where it offers you an olive branch or arrows, and depending on how you respond is which one you're gonna get. It's the same symbolism that's used in America's eagle as well, right? It holds olive branches and it holds arrows as well, so think about that too. But people maybe don't realize that there is something called the papal bulls, which are like all the big dogs within the papacy as a group within the church, kind of like Jesuits, but something else. And they had something called the doctrine of discovery, and according to that doctrine, any new lands or peoples that were unclaimed would be theirs through a legal written document, okay? And so native peoples of America and South America, they fit the bill for that quite perfectly, obviously, right? Now, of course, this doctrine, I believe, was drawn up after the discovery of the lands, but then they had to put it up because it's all about legalism, right? For example, maybe I'll put the image of that up for the caption on this, or for the image pic on this video. If you go to Winnipeg, a native friend of mine that I found through Facebook, he taught me about this. But you go to the Winnipeg Capitol building and start examining all the monuments on it. And if you go to the very top of the building in front of the Solomon's Temple tower sticking out of the rest of the design, it's a Masonic building. It's a combination of Solomon's Temple mixed with a bunch of Roman or Babylonian style architecture when it comes down to it, right? But at any rate, there's an Ark of the Covenant that's on there, just like Indiana Jones, the movie. It's what it looks like. It looks like a great big geometric container. It's on angles. It's not perfectly square. I believe it has the cherubs on the top with the wings as well, right? Like the cherubs facing each other. And on one side is a headdress Native American, so the chief, right? And then on the other side, standing on the ark, is kind of a Greco-Roman style soldier with a ornate battle dress helmet as well. And they're standing on either side of the ark. So that symbolizes the covenant that was made between the natives and, well, the Holy Roman Catholic Empire, I suppose. I wouldn't say it was Canada that made that, but it was, right? So you say it's Canada, but that's just the name of the country. But who really is the people behind making these documents and signing them and pushing them forward, right? So that's also spelled out. It's words. It's been spelled out, and people have signed their name on it. And that's the covenant that you ended up getting through all of that. Was that a deal ended up having to be made with these people because they didn't want to just be yours through the doctrine of discovery. It turned out they had some fight in them. So treaties were made. So I think that's what the ark represents between those two figures, is the treaties that were signed. So that's some of the symbolism that you'll find even in Canada that to me is ultimately Masonic and is connected to that shit. So, yeah. What was I gonna say? People walking in front of me makes me distracted. Oh look, that dog has a poofy tail. So anyway, he made a good call. He was right to accuse the Holy Roman Catholic Empire, or to go a level deeper, the mystery religion, the ones who worship stars and ancient gods that are represented by stars and planets first and foremost, right? So, oh, now someone's coming right through here in front of me. Please don't run me over. Hello. That must have been who was racking around behind me on the trail behind me. You can't see it through the trees, there's a trail behind me. So he made a good call anyway, and a bunch of people started attacking him instead of going with the good idea that it's actually the Catholics that need to take responsibility for this. It's not his, or it's not Canada's. That doesn't make any sense. It's not these people that just drove by me's fault that shit happened. It's the Catholics specifically. But everybody in the comments section under that video clip of him saying that are all fucking giving him shit. It's like, well, I know you hate him, but attack him on another day on another topic. This is another topic altogether, and it needs to have the right answers for it. And they're not even addressing what goes on. But that's what an incensed crowd acts and behaves like. So that's what we're dealing with, is everybody's part of some kind of group identity in a way, or not everybody, but a lot of people are. I suppose with what I believe is kind of a group identity. It's just that it's a really fucking small group where we have common beliefs. But my common belief is that, and to reference, I guess, for the fun of it and the sake of it, most people can identify with the universe of Star Wars to some degree, just to make an example, is that you have, you know, the rebel factions, and then you have the Empire, and that's just the way that is, and the Empire is slowly taking over all these rebel factions with their fighting back kind of thing, right? You can involve yourself with one or the other, like most people are. A lot of the people in the comments there were probably in line with, say, some sort of rebellion, and then anybody standing up for the other side of things would be involved with the Empire kind of idea, right? Straight A's, did good in school, fucking they know what's best. And you want to be somewhere in the middle. You don't really want to, not even say the middle, you just separate, right? Like, you're going to deal with people who won't change their minds, that are staunch and they're guilty of all kinds of groupthink and emotionally being manipulated as part of that. When you start to break free of all that, then you don't have to carry any of that weight around with you. You don't have to be involved with any of that nonsense anymore. And you can live a more peaceful and happy life, and it'll draw more people to you that you need in your life, or that they need in their life. It's just kind of the way it is. It's a gravitational pull to it. You want to kind of be like the Jedi, walking around and just sort of doing your own thing in a sense. Now, granted, yes, they were helping the rebellion, I guess, but the idea is that, you know, you're not going to have any beef. You're going to pull Jedi mind tricks. You're going to use your wisdom to avoid the problems and calamities that you could come in contact with the Empire. And you're not going to go on any suicide missions with the rebellion either. Like, to me, the January 6th march was, and move on the Capitol building was kind of a failed operation. It didn't do anything but bad. It was just harmful. So, you know, you don't want to be involved with that, and then you also don't want to be involved with the Empire itself either, right? That's where the truth is. One of the things I learned about Jesus is that if you listen to his teachings, he's kind of setting up a society that has rules and who you should involve yourself with and who you shouldn't. He says don't bother going and even talking to those Baal worshippers over there, those Beelzebub worshippers, because they won't listen to you at all. They're already deep in their own way of doing things. But you kind of find like-minded people and you group together, and you don't exist in any of the old systems, because all the old systems are bunk. Democracy is an old system and it's bunk. It's thoroughly invaded by globalist provocateurs and agenteurs, and that's probably why it was designed or brought in. I don't think that it was ever supposed to be a part of the United States. It was supposed to be a republic. It should have had firm laws to stand on and a firm constitution that was suitable for everybody. But now you live in a country where people claim that they're all equal, but there's so many equal rights or extra rights out there for other groups that it's not actually equal. Some people have more political power than others just by virtue of who they were born as, and that's not right. And that's the same thing in Canada too. These nitwits are trying to pull a log out of the fucking river. Looks like it's not going well. That's right, retreat back to the shore. You're not gonna pull that out of there. Funny. But anyway, that's my thoughts on Trudeau and sort of the groupthink idea that he can say something right and no one fucking cares. Full criticism should be going towards the Holy Roman Catholic Empire right now, and it's not one fucking bit, because everyone is just already caught up in their own bullshit. It's not even their own bullshit, it's bullshit that they were given and they fucking choose to cling on to it. True master isn't going to cling on to any garbage. You cling on to garbage and you just carry the stink around with you too. Think about that shit. All right.